Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the 7th episode already in the 3 animation series, and today, as you can read, I want to focus on the animator and the C# part. So this is the actual complicated part of doing animation in Unity. Let's just walk through this and see if we can do this. I've changed a little bit in the actual character. I've added a little bit more colliders over here, for example the clavicle and the hand here as well. So when it dies, it actually has a little bit more natural feeling to it, so it doesn't just, the hands don't go through the ground in this case as well. So let's just do this, right? So let's first focus on the animator, and then we're going to focus on the C# part. Let's first go to the animator over here. Right now we have an entry state, an exit state, and an any state. I'm just going to shuffle them around a little bit so we get a lot more space. So by default, right, I want the enemy to idle. That's what I want to do. But I have 2 idle animations. So what I can do, it's actually really sexy, I can create a new blend tree over here. I'm going to call idle, and in that blend tree, when we double click on it, you can add multiple animations that you can blend together if you want to. When I click on the blend tree itself, I can add here in the list, I can add a motion field. I'm going to add 2 motion fields because I have 2 idle animations. I'm going to just drag them in here. There you go. So now I'm going to hit play here. Using this value over here, I can actually blend in between the different idle animations. I know it's hard to tell because they're not that difficult or that different. So he's now crouching, right? But I can actually like switch it so it actually goes back here to the other one. That's a really sexy way to creating switching between multiple animations real fast. But this is all controlled by a blend slider right now. I kind of want to change it, so I'm going to rename this to like idle type. But it actually has a different value over here that actually makes a little bit more sense. Up here you can see that we actually do it on idle type here. You can also change it if you have more to a different one. But for now, we have idle. So this is now the default state. When it's yellow, it means that's the default state. So when now I hit play, you'll see that the enemies will just idle and they'll just move forward into infinity. So they're idling and they're floating and they're just walking around, and I can still shoot them. They're not going to die though, because the animation right now is overriding the actual ragdoll physics. I can shoot it till I want, but it's not going to do anything, right? Because they're overriding it right now. Which is good, because I kind of want that. Okay, so next step would be to create the walking / running. And again, I'm going to combine them into one single blend tree, because you can blend between, for example, walking and running real nice. Again, I'm going to make a new blend tree over here. I'm going to call this walking. I'm going to add a new parameter over here. Again, it's a float value. I'm going to call this walking type, or let's call this walk type. There we go. And then we're going to add 3 motion fields here. So a motion field 1 and 2 and 3. So in this case, I'm going to throw in my walking, my run 1, nope, run 1, and run 2. So I'm going to play where he's just walking around. And now when I slide up here, you can see that I actually start blending in the animations. But as you see, right, we're still doing it on the idle type. So I kind of want to change it to walk type. So now we'll actually change the parameter, so I can actually control this as well by using C#. He's just walking, and then we can like set it to 0.5, so it's doing one run animation, and the other ones will be the other one. It should be nice. Benefit as well, you can actually just very gently make a transition into running. You can actually do this really nice and slow, or really fast if you want to, which is really nice. Okay. So we want to be able to transition from idle into walking, so I'm going to click on my idle and right click on again, and then make transition, and just click on walking. Now the arrow over here actually is actually really important, right? Because this has the condition and the exit time. Now exit time means that it will only transition into the next state when the first one is done. So it will only move on to the walking when the idle animation is done. Then it's going to move on. That would kind of suck, right? So I'm going to turn it off immediately, and then we need to add a condition here, which I don't have right now. So I'm going to add it here in parameters. I'm going to add a boolean value here that I'm going to call is walking. Then we can add a condition here. Let's say is walking is true. Then we transition into walking. You can also go back, of course, from walking to idle. So again, right click on walking, click on the idle. Again, turn off exit time because we don't want to wait for the animation to finish. And then we say here is walking is false. Okay, so right now it's not going to do anything. But now when we hit play, it's still going to just idle forward because we need to actually do some programming for this. It's just idling forward. I can still shoot it. It's not going to do anything, as you can see. So in my C# script, right, I've added a couple of lines here. Well, just an awake void. In this case, I just get the component animator, and that's entirely it. That's what I've done so far. So what I want to do is I want to add a public void here, so I can call it from a different file. And I'm going to say set walking, and I'm going to pass through a Boolean value that I can use to set walking to true or false, right? So in here, I need to say my animator and then set bool, then the actual name of the parameter, and then the value. That can be true or false. So the name of the parameter, right? You can just copy paste it from the actual animator over here. Is walking. I call it is walking. I was compiling the script. It's annoying. Is walking. And in between there, that's it. So now we can call this from a different file of different class, and then it will set the walking parameter here to true, and then it should start walking. So I'm going to go to my behavior script here. And in my patrol function, that's the one that just makes the character move back and forth. I'm gonna call here my enemy animator, so the class over here, and then I'm gonna call the function set walking. I'm gonna pass through the value of true, so it should start walking. Well, let's see what it actually does. So let's go to a scene here so we can have a little bit of a better look. Now when we hit play, it should walk, in theory. And they're walking. All at the exact same time, but they're walking. Now I'm gonna come close. It's gonna walk towards me with a different speed. Now you can see that's nice and sliding, but still walking, right? So we kind of want to make sure that when I aggro the enemy, that we actually change the value in our blend tree over here to, for example, 1. We actually get this running animation towards the player itself. So we can do that by setting a float value, right? So when the enemy is triggered, let's make a new function over here. Let's call this public void set running. Same thing here. I'm going to pass through a Boolean value that I can use to make him stop running or not. And then same thing here. So I'm going to say animator.setBool is walking in case we're not walking. And then I want to set the value of the actual float. In this case, I'm just going to make it a little bit easier for myself. Set it to 1. So in this case, I'm going to say set float value. Then the float value that we actually have. So that will be the walk type, this one. So walk type, and then the actual value, I'm going to say 1. Okay, so my enemy gets, it starts chasing the actual player here in my state chase. So in here, when he's chasing, so when he's, in this case, when he's chasing the actual player, I'm going to say again enemy animator.set running. Oh, running. True. Okay, so now when the character is chasing the player, he's going to set it to true. So I'm going to hit play now and see what happens. And there we go. And now he's running. You still can't shoot it, or we can shoot it, but it's just kind of idle forever because the character is dead, but it's still not doing anything. So let's do the dev scene now, which is actually a little bit more complicated than it actually is. So in my animator, from any state, the enemy can die, right? From any state. So if it's idle or running or whatever, for any state it can die. So what I want to do here is I want to drag in my dev animation over here, like this. And from any state, I want to create a transition. Of course, we also need an actual condition over here. So we need to set a new Boolean. I'm going to call it isDead. Makes sense. And from isDead, I want to make sure that I can transition into the dev animation. And from dev, I want to exit. So from dev, I want to say, okay, once you're done, exit. This, in this case, I do want to have exit time, right? So that it will finish the animation and then it's going to move on. In theory, it's actually more complicated than that, but I'll show you in a little bit. So def, right? So let me just say isDead Boolean is true. So I'm going to make a function again in my animator class. Let's say public void set dead. In this case, well, you can only set it to true. And then animator dot set boolean again, since it's a bool, is dead, and then we set it to true. Okay, so when my enemy dies, I'm gonna go to my dev script over here. Dead. Change state over here. So when it dies, I want to say okay, and then my enemy animator set dead. So then it's gonna play the animation in theory, right? So I'm going to show what happens right now. I'm going to switch to my animators class over here. I'm going to undock my animator here for a second. So I'll do my game, so you can see what's happening here. Let's do this over here. Yeah, perfect. Okay, play this. I killed an enemy. I can't barely see it, but there we go. Missed. Come on, missed. Can't see anything. There it is. It just keeps flailing, right? You can see it's just dying non-stop over and over again. So let's find the actual enemy over here. Actual enemy over here, if I can find it. Thank you very much. Okay. And let's see. So we see that the death animation gets called non-stop. It gets called over and over and over again because the is dead is still set to true. It just keeps calling it, right? So it will never actually exit the entire animation itself. So we need to do it a little bit differently here. So we need to call this function is dead, and then we need to make sure that it's disabled again. Otherwise, it's going to be an infinite loop over here saying, hey, yeah, this value is dead is true. So I'm just going to keep on calling the actual animation here. So we need to do something like this where we actually cancel again. So I'm going to make a numerator here, and then I'm just going to say cancel animation that I can use multiple times. So in this case, I'm going to pass through a string with the clip, or whatever you want to call it, to be honest. Then in this case, I just want to set a yield return new, and then wait for seconds. So I'm going to wait 0.1 second, and then I want to set that value again to false. So in this case, animator, I set the bool of the clip. I'm going to set that to false. So why I'm using clip over here? Well, I want to be able to use it for every animation that I have. In this case, set dead over here. I can say start a coroutine. In this case, I want to cancel animation. Then with the is clip here of is dead. So after 0.1 second here, the animation is dead. The boolean value will be set to false. So it should cancel the non-stop calling of the actual animation itself. Let's hit play here for a second. And we should only have it once in theory. F is walking, they're walking. I can't aim apparently, there it is. And it gets called, but it just keeps on running right now, right? It's just running. This one also set to true. What will happen though if you just set it to false, then it's just gonna idle, right? Because that's the default state. So we actually need to do something here that it will actually fall dead again, right? So the ragdoll physics get applied here, which is actually really sexy once you know about this. So I'm gonna go to my actual animation file, and in my dev animation, I'm gonna go to events over here, and then in the end, I'm gonna add an event. So I'm gonna click here on add event. I'm gonna move this blue arrow over here. That's the new event. I'm gonna pass it through here. And then we can call a function, right? From any class, it will just send out a game-wide message to anything that has a following function. So I'm going to call this, what shall we call this? Def. Let's call this ragdoll. Ragdoll. So when the animation is done, it's going to send out a message to any function with the name ragdoll. And it's going to do everything in a function, which is really nice, to be honest. So you can call it ragdoll or enable ragdoll. Let's just call it enable ragdoll. It's actually a little bit sexier. Enable ragdoll. Okay. You can also pass on values over here, float values, int values, string values, or an object itself. In this case, I don't want to do that. I just want to make sure that the animator is disabled. So I'm going to go here, set that. I'm going to make a new function. I'm just going to make a function enable ragdoll, like the one that we just had before, and then we're going to cancel or disable the animator. So enabled is false, so it's going to cancel all the animations and it's going to set it to false. I didn't make sure that I do it here as well. Yeah, I also disable the nav mesh agent, otherwise it's still not gonna work. So I'm just gonna do this as well. I'm gonna add a debug.log here. And we're gonna call this an animation event. Let's open up our console over here and then we're gonna hit play. Hope you see it. Actually, I probably want to make this a little bit bigger again. There you go. So in our console we should get a message saying animation event once the enemy is dead. I pick one. Oh, I should not, probably should kill it first. And it doesn't do anything. That's cool. Try this one. See, they still keep walking, so let's go to the actual animator over here. You can see you have the walking animation is happening and nothing else. So I didn't do it properly yet, so I just wonder why. Let's have a look at the animator itself. Again, let's just dock it over here so I can do it a little bit better. Okay. I should probably also set the he's walking to false in a bit. So let's just shoot it. Oh, wrong character. This one. Def. When it gets called once, it's fine. But yeah, then over here, it's gonna call back to the walking. Let's go back to our actual enemy over here. So over here, animator is still active for some reason. That's odd. Should not do that. Just click on click. Kill it. Because I think the event didn't get called, right? So nothing happens here. The actual function itself didn't get called. I think I know why. I probably forgot to hit enable. That'll be stupid. Is that correct? That is correct. So my event got cancelled. It happened to me before, so let's do this again. So lucky, I'm lucky. Now this time I'm gonna hit apply though, and then it should work. Just wait a little bit. It's really annoying that it doesn't do it by default. Now you can see right, there's now a white thing over here that's called the event enable ragdoll. You can still edit if you want to, but for now I'm just gonna do this. And we'll see if it actually works this time. So put the bad boy over here. It dies and plop, there it goes. Let's just make this a little bit bigger here. So I'm gonna make this over here, maximize on play. So you can see what happens, right? And in the console on the bottom left you can also read animation event. Let's kill it. And poof, it dies. And that. And that. This works perfectly. It's actually really a nice way of doing animation events by just adding an actual event here that will call any function that you actually need. It's really helpful because otherwise you have to code this like, yeah, if the animation clip is done, then do this, then do that. It's really annoying, so in this case actually helps. But I also want to make sure that everything is cancelled here as well. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to add, let's do a private function here that can only be called from this of itself, and let's just cancel. Let's just call reset, and then I want to make sure that everything is reset. So let's set bool over here is walk is false, and then maybe also the animator set float. So that's the walk type to 0. Same for the idle type as well. 0 as well. So this is just a function that we're going to expand on, but we just say, okay, if you want, especially here when it's dead, you want to be able to reset everything. But that's what we're going to do here as well. I'm just going to say reset. Done. Then it'll set all the values back to 0, which is exactly what we want. Okay, so right now we can say he's running, right? From and this the bool is walking, and then we set the float to 1. But what would be cool though if he just slowly transitions in that actual animation. Right now it just sets it hard, and then you get it. You go from walking to running instantly over here. I kind of want to do like slow and gradual one. That would be really cool. So I'm gonna add one line of code over here real fast. There you go. So we can also add here also an enumerator. This one over here, and then we say change to run. And now we're going to use a while loop over here. So I'm going to say here float plus time is 0.0f. Then say okay, while time is lower than 1 float value, we're going to say time is plus is time dot delta time. And then we're going to use that value over here to actually drive the animation, the animator float value. So set float here. What did I call this again? I think it was walk type, right? And then let's do time, like this. Now we can also say here, maybe we're kind of cool if we actually add a value here. Then we can pick between 0.5 or 1. Also need to add here one line more, yield return new, oh, null. So a function like this, the enumerators, they need something to be returned. In this case, I'm just going to return nothing at all. Not that important, but what's going to happen now though is we'll call this function over here. So enable set running. This one, I'm going to cancel this one anymore because we don't need it. Then we're going to start the coroutine here over here, and then we say change to run. And then it will build up from 0, this case to 1 in 1 second. So the value will actually change over time, which is really nice. And we can expand on this by adding 2 values over here, like 0.5 and 1, but that's later for something else. Okay, so what else can we do? Well, yeah, we also need the rest as well, so attacking and that sort of stuff. Let's go back into our animator again. Well, let's do jumping first. That's one that's complicated. So from any state we should be able to jump, right? You can also set it from rocking or running. That's fine as well. Actually, let's just do it from that. Makes a little bit more sense. So from over here, I'm gonna grab my character again, and then first I have to run one, which is the anticipation, right? This one over here. Then we have to run 2. Oh, sorry, I'm being an idiot. Jump air. Then we first have to jump anticipation. Then we have to jump air over here, and then we have to jump landing, right? So we first need to set a boolean value over here. So is jump. If you're jumping, then we should go from walking / running to jump to the anticipation node. We don't have one exit time again, and then in this case we're going to say here is jump to true. So from anticipation we go to air. In this case we don't need anything over here, right? So we just want to go from anticipation to jumping in the air. That's it. We don't want to go based on a certain condition. We just want to just do it. Now from the air we want to go back to landing, right? But that actually needs a condition because we don't know how long the character will be in the air. So I'm going to add a bool over here, and let's say is landed. In this case I want to do this is landed true. Then we go somewhere else, and then we can go from transition from the landing to exit. Then it just can go back into the entry, so we don't have to do anything else. Okay, so again from jump air we don't want exit time actually. We have condition from anticipation to jump air. We don't have any conditions because we just want to transition into it. Okay, so in code wise, right, I'm going to find where I jump over here. So this is my jumping script actually from the nav mesh. But we start, if I'm not mistaken, find it again. I'm sorry, bit of a mess. Well, it's not really a mess, but chasing over here. So this is jump 1. So what's going to happen is though when he is on an off mesh link, which means that there is like a gap in between. If he's on there, if we haven't jumped yet, I want the character to jump, and this is what he actually does, right? In this case, I want him to stop running, and then I want him to play the actual animation. So what I'm going to do here is animator.set. Well, we don't have a function yet, so I'm going to say here set jump, and in this I want to say animator.set bool is jump to true. Maybe the first one had reset, but it's fine for now. Okay, so in here I want to say set jump. That's gonna start the actual animation over here, and while he's in the air I want to do nothing else. So first let's just see if it actually works. Again, I'm gonna keep my here. You can see if it actually does anything, right? So is jump, which actually transition into the actual jumping. Okay, I'm just gonna trigger an animation or trigger the actual enemy. Oh, that doesn't work. Sorry. Yeah, that one. There you go. Triggered, and then gonna jump. He's gonna float. He's gonna float indefinitely because we never set it to change to the actual in the air, because we don't set this is landed to true, right? So he's just floating up right now indefinitely forever and ever and ever. Okay, so we need to change that, of course. I can do that. So in my jumping script over here, it's just gonna say, okay, keep doing this till you actually hit the ground, and once you hit the ground, stop. After that, I'm gonna do my stop jump, right? Which I don't have yet. So in here, let's do public void set landing, because that sounds more epic. In this case, I want to say set bool. Let's say is jump to false, right? So we cancel that one. Then we make a new one, set bool. I think it is landed to true. Is landed to true, right? So then it's just gonna do the recovery animation. Check it out. I'm gonna make it a little bigger so we can actually see it. There we go. Trigger them. There it is. And it doesn't do anything. So let's see why. Let's turn off maximize on play here for a second. I'm gonna find the actual this one. Okay. So he's doing something. He's doing something. He's just walking right now. Time of life. Then we go over here. Jump, and jump air doesn't actually get cancelled. So is jump, well, stupid. I didn't call the function. There you go. That should work. I'm an idiot. And again, let's trigger it, jump over here. I'll land the animation. Then it's gonna continue on, in theory, chasing us. Right now it's just doing nothing because we don't actually tell it to keep on running again. But you can see, right, they actually land properly and then they freeze to death. Okay, but that makes sense. That makes sense. So once he's landed here, I need to set the current state, in this case, chase. I need to tell him to chase the player again, which makes sense. Okay, so let's check it out. Maximize on play, and it should now actually follow us again. Here he comes, here he comes. Good boy. And he chases. Okay, let's do this again. Let's see if it actually does it properly. Actually, right, that he's actually sliding forward. So we actually need to tell the animation, yeah, okay, I have landed. Continue on with the everything else. So I've already have a function here already that I did. We're going to do the same thing here. We're going to do the actual animation event again. So I'm going to go here into my animation over here, if it will actually work, and then jump landing, and then we're going to go to events here again. Dock is over here, it's really annoying. We're going to make a new event. In this case, it has who has landed. over here. Make sure it's the same. Oh, it's this one over here. Has landed. It is. Don't forget to hit apply, otherwise it's still not gonna work. So now when he's landed, then it should actually move on to the actual animation. And by using these events, it's super helpful to do it like this. So it's gonna call the any class within the function name has landed. In this case, when I do, I'm gonna set my enemy to chase the player. That's it. Okay, find him out. Jump, freeze. Oh, it's just collision issue. Unavoidable. Use as good as I can, and then they die. Kills you once as well, real fast, and pop, that, and beautiful. So it actually works. That actually works really well. Piece of cake. Okay, so we need to do more, of course. We're not done yet. We also still have a combat idle animation as well, and an attacking animation. So for the combat idle, I'm just gonna drag it in here. That's it. So we can assume, right, that the player will trigger the enemy before it's in range of being in combat idle. So I can safely assume that we go from walking into combat. So I'm gonna make a transition here from this two. I'm gonna make a new boolean, and it's combat idle on this. Of course, we're gonna turn off has exit time because we don't want to wait. Is combat idle is true, and if it's not, we're gonna go back here. I'm gonna say it's combat idle false. Now, if you want to be a little bit more certain, you can always also add here is walking is false, and here is landed. Holy shit! How did I do that? Is combat idle false? Sorry, false, and is walking true. There's a little bit of extra failsafe. I'm also gonna also immediately do the actual jump attacking animation as well. In this case, I have two attackings. I'm gonna do again make a blend tree over here. Let's drag them in here. Let's do new float attack type. Gotta shift it up a little bit. There we go. Just looks a little bit more organized. That's it. And then click on this one over here, and then I'm gonna say the parameter is gonna be my attack type. I'm gonna add two motion fields. There will be attack 1 and attack 2. That's it. So it's gonna attack for either this one, hitting, or fighting, right? So I can actually go in between and do this. Okay. So I'm gonna call this attacking, and we can go from combat idle into attacking, right? Because you have to be combat idle before you could attack the player. In this case, no exit time is attack, and we don't have it yet, so I'm gonna add it. Boolean is attacking. Oh, is attack is fine as well. It's attack, and then again, I want to go back to my combat idle. I don't care about any parameters. I just want to make sure that it has exit time, so it's gonna fluently transition back into combat idle since we have a cooldown. Okay, so let's go here in my enemy behavior attacking script here. I just want to say here, if you haven't attacked yet, attack the actual target. It's over here. So I'm gonna do the animator dot. We need to have a set attack, which I don't have yet. Do it over here and void set attack. Animator dot set bool. Same thing over and over again. This attack is true. Okay, we can also set the value here, animated, so we can set float, right? In this case, it can be an attack type. Now, I kind of want to be random, so I'm going to actually do a random range between 0 and 2. Now, why 2? Well, the range is in between, right? So it's going to be in between 0 and 2, so it can be 0, 1, but nothing else. So if you say 0 and 1, it will always be 0 in this case. This is also an integer, so if you don't have any decimals, it's going to always be 1 or 0. So you want to be careful with that. So now it's going to do a random attack once we say it. So we're going to say here set attack. Okay, so I also need to set it to combat idle, right? I'm going to do the same thing here. Public void set combat idle, and then animator.setBool is combat idle to true. I also kind of want to make sure that everything else is turned off, so I'm gonna hit reset over here. Reset. So it does. We make sure that it's not walking anymore. Okay, and we're gonna do that over probably. Let's just do it over here. Set combat idle. There we go. Okay, let's have a look if it actually does anything. Though otherwise, I'm just gonna look like an idiot. Gonna hit play. See what happens. So I'm gonna trigger one. See if it actually attacks me. Good. There you go. Okay, right now it's doing absolutely nothing. It's completely broken. So let's dock it over here again. Let's turn off max final play and see what actually is happening. So let's do this. Probably get the actual character enemy. This one. There you go. Okay. He's walking. Okay, he's not in range. I don't know what he's doing. Now he's just walking. He's not actually setting the combat idle or attacking to through anything at all. So it doesn't get called for some reason. It is all correct. I think it's all correct. Yeah. Okay. That is odd. I don't think it actually calls this entire function here, so let's do a debug.log pro fast. Classic. I think I fucked it up. So let's have a quick look. Okay, it does something. That's it. Okay. So this is the one from this one over here. That is weird. Okay. I'm confused as well. Let's turn off we'll reset here as well. Turn this bad boy off for a second. Think this is the issue. Since we can only go from walking to combat idle into attacking, so if we never get to combat idle, it's never gonna hit attack. Probably the issue. Let's have a look. Otherwise, I'm just gonna cheat for now a little bit. It's fine as well. Attack. No. Combat idle never gets called over here. That's not really helpful either. So it doesn't matter how hard you try, you will always at some point fuck it up. Okay, let's just do it like this real fast. We can go from walking into attacking. We don't have exit time. Let's do attack. True. Let me just go back into combat idle. See how this works. Probably something stupid, but Does absolutely nothing at all. That's interesting. Probably over here. Hmm. I'll figure it out later on. This is going to take me a couple of minutes. So. Anyway, that will work in the end. Yeah, everything else is pretty much the same, right? You just keep on doing this for every animation that you have. But you, at some point, you will run into issues like I am doing right now, which is really annoying me. I don't know what's happening here, but I'll find it out later on. But yeah, that's pretty much it. It's not that complicated, but once you know how to couple tricks like the animation events, it's not that complicated. But yeah, this is time consuming, so if you want to do this, it's gonna take you several attempts. But in the end, you'll be okay. So next time probably gonna be finishing everything up. And after that, we'll see what happens, right? So I'll see you guys next time.